Do I have a bite? I sure do. Oh, that's a good fish. He's pulling a little. So what are we doing today? We have the arsenal of Googan rods, the reaction, the go-to, the muscle, and the two different finesse rods. One's gonna be for a jerkbait, one's gonna be for a Ned rig, bandito bug and jig, clickbait, and the crankbait and lipless. Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. It can't be a Fishing with Gramps video if there's not a review involved. This is the Googan Squad Winter Money Bag. Saucy Swimmers, Slim Shake, Rattling Ned, Little Juicy Jig, bandito bugs, the clickbait, lipless crankbait, the mini clutch, the jerkbait, the Junior Scout. So, you know, if this is really the winter money bag, it better be money in the winter, right? But what's the best way to open the season? The Googan rods that we've been all waiting for. And the Googan Squad cold water winter money bag. I didn't bring nothing else with me except some terminal tackle, leader line, line condition, and snippers. And a net. Let's get on the water. All right, so we're gonna check out this Googan Squad cold water bundle, which is now no longer available, or at least as of yesterday, available on Googan Squad, but it is available on shopcarls.com. So you can save even more money going to shopcarls.com.
I just love playing ping pong with my Flexo Light ping pong pad.
Nope, not sponsored, not affiliated. Just think they have a good service. Sharing the word. I also said that the Googan Squad baits and rods were going to be for the boat, but the boat's not ready because I still need boat numbers, fish finders wired up, and other odds and ends. So that being said, I have a Googan Squad cold water bundle, and the colors are mostly blue and black, which is better for stained water. The place I'm going to be fishing the majority of the time out of my boat is crystal clear water, so it wouldn't really make sense. So you don't force something that you don't have to. So first casts on the actual water with the Googan Squad green reaction rod. I am using the lipless crankbait. I'm gonna throw this along these rocks just to see if anything's around. I still really don't expect many fish to be up here, but they might be up here sunning on these rocks because the sun has been beating down on them. But we've had rain in 50-degree days, which would help warm the water up. Dumping warmer rain into the cold water may have sped things up, but I actually want to get over here where I'm parallel to the rocks, but I'm just kind of working this corner. Cold water bass. Again, these fish have been under ice for several weeks in the winter, and now it's warming up, so they're still probably moving pretty slow. But my first guess is, even though this water is warm, it's 5 to 6 feet deep along this dam. This lake at its deepest in the creek channels that run through this lake is about 10 feet, but down there at that inlet or outlet on this side, that's the south side of the lake. And when you're first getting started, whether you're in a kayak or on foot or boat, early in the spring, late coming off those winter times, the sun actually hits the southern bank the most during the day, putting the most warmth on those sunny banks. Now, my southern bank here has a lot of trees on that side, so it's been in the shade for the last few hours. But down there around the corner, where the water is shallower and a creek channel runs right back next to that bank, is where I expect to find fish. The water goes from shallow to deep there. There's a creek channel that runs through it. Bass use creeks as highways a lot of the time. And since the sun's been out, probably be beaten back there on that skinny water that might be a couple feet deep. I expect that water might even be a little warmer. But I'm just telling you, in a very short time, the water's warmed up a little bit. It's back down in the 50s right here. So if anything, we might have some younger, littler fish up and moving. But since we're going along this rock bank and this riprap is broken rock. And often you'll see it piled up in dams or along bridges that go over lakes. Just broken chunk rock. But since this riprap goes a few more feet down in the water before it turns into the dirt bottom of the lake, bass will cruise up along those rocks because they hold heat but also smaller fish and crawdads, crawfish, whatever you call them from where you're from, will be in those rocks. So bass will cruise them looking for easy meals. I like to work parallel to the banks right now because there could be a bass sitting right up next to those rocks, kind of warming themselves. But if the bass are actively feeding, they will sit out and watch for bait fish along the bank. Did we get one? We sure did. Yeah, we did. Lipless crank. I gotta get my... Oh, I didn't have my net ready, and that cost me a good fish. That was dumb. Yeah, lesson learned. See if we can repeat it. I'm gonna pull out from the water here for a little bit because I want to show you that this one they call the sriracha crawl, I think it is. Red on the top, chartreuse or yellow on the bottom. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. If it's not, that's okay. What I'm going to do here, when I get some time, I'm going to take the kayak and my camera and put it in the water, and I'm going to show you what all of these baits look like under the water so that you get an idea of what the fish is seeing and give you some idea of what it's doing under the water so that you can vary your speeds and things like that. So initial impressions with this Googan Squad reaction rod. This is a green version, which is the more inexpensive model. This rod is super light. I mean, super light. I wouldn't have expected this for like a $90 rod from Shop Carl's with the discount. But I mean, the action is really nice. I like the guides. I've got a Lews Mach 2 reel on it because I broke the tip of the Lews rod that came with this. Don't think the qualities are quite the same. I mean, that bundle was like a $140 bundle, and this reel is like a $120 reel. So I guess I can say I didn't have that many expectations out of that rod. Now I do have to remember this is a, I think 7:2-to-1 gear ratio reel, but on this I'll probably throw my lipless crankbaits. I'll probably throw a lot of the crankbaits on here. I just have to remember to reel it slower. But a lot of times I reel faster or slower based on, you know, what I think the bait is actually doing in the water. I mean, but this thing is super light in the hand, well balanced, and the rod and the reel actually match up well together. And again, I'm just working along this bank. I know in a month or so when the lily pads are here, this is actually a really hot spot. I've caught a lot of fish here in several years. I hadn't been out here in years until this last fall, and before that it's probably been about 5 or 6 years. You can scroll down to the bottom of my channel videos and you can see a lot of really good bass caught out of here. It's probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was just checking around doing some little videos, but this lake has a lot of great bass in it. I've got 5 Googan Squad rod and reel combos that I'm going to use to test out this cold water bundle with. 3 bait casting and 2 spinning rods. Again, this is the reaction rod. Casts really nice. You will have some folks that do a lot of tackle and gear reviews, not like graphite frames like this, which is fine. I mean, everybody has to fish within their own budget. I'm always one that will say, I thought I had a little something there, but, or do I? Found a little one. Come here, monster. What are you doing? That bait is bigger than you are, little nugget. Look at that little baby. What are you doing up here? Oh, let's get off the bank. All right, buddy, later. Thanks for playing. At least I know the fish are awake now. All right, there's one. No skunk. Wind is actually blowing me that way today. So what I'm gonna do is turn back around. You know, I don't think it was supposed to rain anymore today. It was raining this morning, but boy, those skies over there sure are looking like it. I'm gonna have to check the radar here real quick. Thought we were done with the rain until Saturday, but hey, you never know. It's Indiana. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. We get down here, we'll throw some soft plastics around this inlet. All right, so we picked up one along the riprap with this lipless crankbait, the junior clutch I think it is. Nice looking bait, but we will save you for a little warmer day. One thing I picked up over the winter time is these bait sacks. I really like the idea of these. Keep your stuff from getting tangled up. They just clip right to your thing. If you're in a kayak or even walking the banks, it keeps your stuff from getting tangled together. A really good job of keeping your stuff separated. All right, next I'm gonna Yeah, first while I'm talking, let me check the radar. That looks a whole lot darker than I expected. Again, now I'm in the shady spot, so the water's probably a little cooler. But yeah, I love these bait bags. Check this out. You just pop it open, pull your jig out. Just set that down there right there next to me. We're gonna throw a jig around this outlet a little bit. Sometimes bass will be staged up there waiting for bait fish. You get trapped in the current and the breeze to get blown that way, and the current pulls them through. But sometimes bass will sit up there waiting on them. If you watched my how to fish a spinning rod video, you saw me catch some bluegill up over there from the bank. Again, this is still the deeper end of the lake. I know it's only 9-8 feet right here. Now I'm throwing the little juicy jig with a black and blue bandito bug on it. Was also part of this cold water bundle. Right there, really nice little jig. The little bandito bug. This is the Googan Squad Gold Muscle Rod. If you haven't seen my initial review on this, go take a look at it. It's a 7.5 heavy extra fast. What that means, heavy, is it's got a lot of good backbone. This part right through here for setting the hook, really driving that hook in. And then the tip is fast action. It's got some good bend to it. I have got a Lews skipping and pitching reel on it, which is by far one of my favorite reels from Lews. I've got a couple of Pro TIs. I've got a Custom Pro. But the concept between Kevin Van Dam and Andy Montgomery, who is the skipping man, the king of skipping jigs, they came up with this concept. Again, if you're just starting out, don't get torn up between all the different, combos and things that I talk about. These are bait specific techniques that you'll learn over time. If you want to start with just one Googan Squad rod, get either the green or the gold go-to rod. That is the most versatile rod in the lineup. If I only had one bait casting rod, that would be it, because it can do anything. Do I have a bite? I sure do. Oh, that's a good fish. He's pulling a little. Oh, come here, big boy. Look at you. Oh, right. What a stud. Look at that fish. If you go back and watch every video I put out over the winter on why the jig is my favorite bait, or me talking about a jig, look at that bass right there. What a behemoth. Probably 3 or 4 pounder. Man, what a beautiful fish. Almost a 4 pounder. Really good fish for up here in southern Indiana. Thanks for playing, homie. Whoop. I would say a little juicy, doing his job. And that's why I throw a jig. All right, what a great way to start the day. I would say a little juicy proved his worth. I don't need to keep throwing him because I know he gonna keep catching fish. So let's reposition and try this shaky head worm. So for those who didn't know, unless you follow me on Instagram, my sweet mama lost her her battle with cancer after almost a year. And I was so happy to have her for that year. I mean, we thought we were going to lose her within a couple of weeks of her diagnosis, but we had almost another year. And while I can say I was ready, I was not. You're never ready to lose your mama. Anyway, when I first pulled up here, I noticed this. And this is a daffodil, for those of you who may not be familiar. My mama always loved daffodils because they reminded her of her mama, another sweet angel. So when we moved back to Indiana, my mom and dad bought their first house back here after my dad got out of the Army. We went over to my grandma's and dug up a bunch of daffodils. And then every spring, we'd have a little bit of grandma with us on our property. And since this is the first spring without my mama, and seeing this is the first daffodil I've seen, just got me thinking of her. I sent a little message to my wife. She sent one back to me saying that my mama probably put that there just for me. Thanks, Mama. So now we'll take a look at the Googan green finesse rod spinning. I have it spooled up with 8-pound braided line, about a 6-foot fluorocarbon leader. It's 8 pounds, just using a basic Alberto knot. We'll do a video on that one here soon. This rod again is very light in the hand, very balanced. And as with my reaction rod, I have a Lews Mach 2 reel on this one, but another, you know, almost perfectly matched combo. The green on this was a hair different, but yeah, who cares? It looks good. Uh-oh. Maybe I was just bouncing off something, not sure. You know, it's not supposed to rain, but boy, it feels like it's getting darker. I guess it's just more overcast. I'm actually surprised. Even though I called that fish, I didn't really expect to have one here this early. Maybe in another week or two with a little bit warmer water. But again, he was probably staged, sitting there just like I thought he might be. I'm gonna give this shaky head a few more casts, see if there's any other littler fellers around here before I get blown in the bank here. Had I not caught that fish, I would probably kick myself for not starting down there when the sun was out, but that's okay. Fish are hungry and they still got to eat. That water up there will still be warmer because it is a little skinnier. I'm just kind of bouncing this shaky head along. I'm probably fishing it way too fast because I'm talking and fishing at the same time. I might have a fish there. Yeah, I sure do. Another good one. Not quite as big as the last, but hey. And that worm fell out of his mouth as soon as I got him in the net. All right, third bait, third fish. Here we go. All right, another great fish. Let's go. 3 for 3. I would say the Googan Squad cold water bundle is paying off. And hell, there's a bunch of baits in this bundle. I doubt if we even have time to fish with them all today, but I think we'd all know what the results were going to be. And here we are back at the homestead a couple of days later. Those dark skies that I was looking at, a cold front come in and shut everything down. But what a great start to reviewing those Googan Squad gold and green rods. Man, those things feel great in the hand so far. 3 fish caught out of the kayak. Can't beat that for the beginning of a 2021 fishing season. Now stay tuned for part 2 of the Googan Squad gold and green rod review, as well as the Googan Squad cold water money bag bundle. I'd love to be out filming part 2 right now, but I've got to get the boat numbers on the boat, the license plate, and the fish finders wired up. Hopefully we'll be on the water next weekend to film part 2. Until next time, get outside when you can and make a memory. They last a lifetime.